This is your plug that's going to the epicenter itself. You want to make sure that this is taped up when installing your wires so that nothing touch. It's just a safety precaution. Always remember to have the battery negative cable off your vehicle when installing anything such as stereo amplifiers, epicenters, speakers, any such thing that does with installation inside your vehicle. Make sure your negative cable is off the battery. Now that I got all my wires properly hooked up and fastened in place where you can actually take a tug on each wire to make sure that it doesn't come out, I would then take this plug and plug it into the epicenter. It will lock in place. Make sure that plug locks in place, that you can tug on it and make sure it doesn't come out. Once that is plugged up, the next step you do is you go and you remove the cable, the base cable that goes to your amplifier. And I want to note, these cables are totally different, guys. So don't think just because you're not using the cable to your amplifier that you can take that same cable and plug it into your epicenter. You can't do that. These cables are different, and they're different for a reason. It's a reason they send you cables to separate product, because that cable goes to that product. You can't use one knob to a different amp or one knob to a different device. Now, once you got it plugged up, you will trace down your cable to where it plugs into your amplifier, your base amp, from your base cable. You got to unplug that. It will no longer be usable. And the reason it's no longer usable is because it will interfere with the epicenter itself. You can't use the base knob that goes to the epicenter and use the base knob that goes to your amplifier subwoofer amp at the same time. It will bring destruction and noise, and it will make trying to have that more power coming from two devices at one time using both remote knobs can cause destruction, and it can cause your speakers to throw bass off, pitches off, and a lot of racket and a lot of noise that could damage your amplifier and also damage your speakers. So note, when using the epicenter, unplug the bass knob to the bass amplifier, because this takes control of that. Now what you will want to do is you will go here and unplug the jacks out of the input of your amp. These jacks will then plug into the input of the epicenter itself. Once these jacks are plugged into the epicenter itself, you would then take another set of RCA jacks. Those jacks will then be plugged into the output of the epicenter. And then you would take the other end and you will plug it into the input of your amp. Now, what that does is the music output from your car stereo will come from the output of the jacks into the input of the epicenter, and from the other set of jacks coming from the output of the epicenter into the input of the amp. This causes this device to begin to be the function of the bass knob of this amplifier and controlling the function and capability of this amplifier by boosting that power, giving you more power, but in control of just one source with one knob capability. Once all of that has been hooked up, you would then plug in the cable. Once the cable is plugged in, you would then get your epicenter bass knob. The epicenter base knob will then be plugged to the cable that is ran for it and installed. And once that is installed, this base knob that went to the amplifier will no longer be used. This will take complete control of what this base knob used to do. This base knob went to the amp. This base knob goes to the epicenter. And as I said before, when hooking up an epicenter that comes with its own base remote knob, you cannot use the knob that controls the base of the amplifier itself, because it will bring destruction and cause a lot of problems with your sound and your amp and your subwoofers. So this now takes the controls of this knob. And this is the knob to your epicenter. Once that is hooked up, before mounting anything, before mounting any of your product, you got to test your product. Testing your product, you don't need the switch completely on because it's just a test. As you see, seems to be working pretty good. And it's on men. So that's pretty powerful. It's a pretty powerful product. So as you see, the bass knob is working, it's functioning, and that was me turning it up and turning it back down without instruction. Speaking back on haywire, and about to go to play. So you don't have no destruction by doing that. But if you have destruction inside your wheel, it's because you got this knob hooked up to the amp, and then you got this knob hooked up to the epicenter. You can't use both knobs. You have to disable the knob that goes to the amplifier and let the epicenter replace that by taking over. Once all of that is done, you will see that's how you do the installation of an epicenter amp combination. So no, guys, remember, you heard this from me, the Money Black Sheep. Learn to do it the professional way.